2 weeks ago, give or take. That's how long it's been since we lost the line. We were National Guard, what was left of it in eastern Kentucky. Fragmented, scattered, leaderless. The outposts fell fast, one by one. Some overrun. Some deserted. Some just went silent. When the last radio went cold, it was just me, Thomas, and 2 others from our unit. 4 left out of God knows how many. We were holding the outer checkpoint along Route 645 when the call came to pull back. We loaded up the Humvee with what we could carry, rations, batteries, 1 working rifle for every man. No air support, no backup. Just 4 ghosts in uniform driving west into the mountains. On the way out, we picked up 2 stragglers from another squad. No names, just faces smeared in soot and blood. One had shrapnel in his leg. The other wouldn't make eye contact. Didn't matter where they came from. They were breathing. That was enough. We didn't talk much. The roads were slick with rain and cracked in half by landslides. We stuck to the tree lines and back trails, followed deer paths, crossed footbridges that creaked like they wanted to give out. Infected didn't chase much anymore, too spread out. But we stayed quiet just the same. Nighttime didn't feel like night anymore. Felt like a hunting ground. We made it to Tomahawk under cover of fog. That cave saved us. It's hidden behind a boulder big enough to block out the sky, wedged into the hillside like the mountain itself cracked open. Could have driven past it 100 times and never seen it. First time we crawled through, we thought it'd be shallow. But it opened up inside. Big enough to stand. Big enough to disappear in. We turned it into a bunker. Bricked the mouth with broken chimney stone. Wrapped the outer brush in barbed wire and razor tin. Tripwires all through the approach. Dug pits, laid glass. Thomas is packing an M249 SAW like it's just another day in basic. The inside smells like iron and mildew. It's cold. Too cold to sleep sometimes. Moisture eats our clothes. Helmets double as water collectors. You can hear the rocks breathe at night, but it's dry and it's defendable. That's enough. We sleep in rotation. 1 man always awake, always watching. Every noise in the trees makes your pulse spike. One of the new guys had a breakdown on the 4th night. We didn't talk about it. I rigged the old transmitter from the Humvee and set up a continuous broadcast. Just a loop. Our last lifeline. This is Sergeant Cline, National Guard, Tomahawk region. Coordinates unstable. Requesting contact with any higher command. Civilians may be present. Extraction orders required. Over. I recorded it the day after we dug in. I've played it every hour since. It's the only voice we've heard in this cave until today. This morning, just after dawn, I heard something new. A voice. It wasn't panicked, wasn't infected rambling. It was calm, measured. Said, "Been listening to your loop for 3 days now. You're all that's left, ain't you?" He called himself DJ Red. Said my signal was the only thing keeping him from cracking out there. Then he quoted the loop back to me, word for word. Even the glitch where my voice cracked the first time I recorded it. He knew the stutter, the silence before the over. That's not guessing. That's obsession. That's someone who's been listening in the dark. Thomas was against it. Said it could be a trap. Said we should shut the loop down and wait it out. I considered it, but something about Red felt real. So I gave him a path. Follow the creek that curves like a question mark. I told him. You'll see a rusted gate hanging off the post. Don't go past it. If you hear wind chimes, stop. If you hear nothing at all, pray. He hasn't come yet, but if he does, we'll be waiting. And if he's not who he says he is, he'll never see the inside of this cave. He came just before dusk. Didn't announce himself. Didn't call on the radio. Just silence. And then the chime. We rigged that chime with old cantabs and fishing line. Barely audible if you're not listening. But we always listen. The second it rang, every man inside the cave had his rifle pointed toward the mouth. Thomas loaded the turret. The new kid with the limp was chewing the edge of his glove like he was going to swallow it. I stood near the door. Safety off. Breath slow. He didn't say a word. Didn't move again. We waited like that for almost an hour. Just waiting on a ghost to speak. Then he said, "Didn't want to spook anybody, just following the rules." I heard the chime, that voice. It was him, DJ Red. No panic, no swagger, just that same tired calm, like he'd walked all the way from another world and was too worn out to lie. Still, I didn't trust him. Not yet. I told him, "You armed?" He said, "Couple mags and a knife, but they're staying in the dirt." I told him to back away from the tripwire. Wait for the rope. I lowered it myself, a length of paracord we'd rigged through a pulley system behind the wall. We'd never used it, never had a reason, but we sent it down like a test of faith. Red tied his pack to it. We reeled it up, searched everything. Inside the bag was a half-burned journal, 3 bottles of water, and a broken photo of a family I didn't recognize. No food, no maps, no lies. We gave the word. Let him in. One at a time, we peeled back the bricks, just enough for a man to crawl through sideways. He hesitated. I saw it. That flicker of, "Is this worth dying for?" cross his face. Then he slipped in without a sound. DJ Red was smaller than I expected. Looked like someone who hadn't slept in a bed since the old world ended. Clothes were wet, beard was patchy, but his eyes were sharp, scanning everything. He didn't speak right away, just nodded at each of us like we were old neighbors he hadn't seen in years. He was calm, not fearless, just done being afraid. Then he said, "Didn't think this place would be real." I didn't answer, neither did Thomas. We don't waste words anymore. Instead, I pointed to the rock bench we'd carved near the back, told him to sit. We passed him a protein bar, the last one we had. He tore it slow, like it might explode. The cave was dead silent, just the faint whine of the generator in the back chamber. I watched him eat, watched his hands, watched his eyes. He looked up and said, "Your loop. It's the only thing out there that didn't sound like hell. Even the static sounded like company." I didn't respond. Not yet. Then he reached into his coat and pulled out a crumpled notebook. He set it down beside him. "I wrote down every loop I could pick up," he said. "Yours was the last one that didn't cut off mid-sentence." I flipped through it later. Handwritten frequencies, dates, signal strength. Dozens of dead broadcasts. All gone now. All silent. Ours was the last. Red didn't ask to stay. Didn't ask what we were doing here. He just listened, eyes tracking every drip of water down the stone, every boot scuff, every breath. Eventually I told him, "We're here until the radio stops working." He nodded. "Then I guess I'm in the right place." That should have been the end of it. We should have gone to sleep, taken turns on watch, rationed what little we had left. But then came the sound. Not the chime, not the tripwire. Something deeper, something heavier, something breathing outside the rock. And every man in that cave knew we hadn't just let something in. We'd led something to us. The sound came again just after nightfall. Not a branch snapping, not the wind. This was deeper, slow, wet, breathing. We all froze. Red was already off the bench, back against the cave wall. One of the new kids grabbed his rifle wrong, fumbled the sling, almost dropped it. Thomas moved fast, sliding behind the M249, clicked the feed cover open with muscle memory and kept one hand on the grip. My finger found the trigger of my M4 like it had been waiting. Then metal snapped. The wire, a trip line near the second bend outside the cave, had been triggered, tied to an old rattle can full of bolts and glass. It went off like a dry bone shaker. Everyone stopped breathing. We didn't speak, didn't need to. That wire was 20 feet out. You don't trip it by accident unless you're looking for something. The breathing came next. Low, rhythmic, like lungs made of leather and tar. Not panicked, not starving, just listening. Then an inhale, rattling and wet, drawn out like it was sucking in the scent of the cave itself. An exhale followed, heavy, wet, calm. Red pressed his back harder against the stone. No one moved, no footsteps, no voice, just that slow, guttural breath. Close enough now that I could hear the whistle of wind curling around its nose, if it even had one. And then it stopped. Dead silence. Even the trees outside had gone still. I looked at Thomas, then at Red. Then I realized it had stopped breathing because we had. It was waiting for us to make the next sound. Red leaned toward me, voice barely a thread. He said, "Whatever that is, it followed me. And maybe he's right. Or maybe it didn't follow anyone. Maybe it was always coming. Either way, it knows. It knows we're in here. It knows how to stay still, how to listen, how to make us afraid of silence. None of the infected we've seen ever did this. None of them waited. None of them thought. This one does. And just when the quiet started to crush our chests, it let out a sound I can still feel in my bones. A screech, low at first, then high, cracked, wrong. Not human, not animal. Something caught between the two. A voice with no words, just hunger. And now we know it's here. And it knows we're not going anywhere.